Thank you, Sage, for that very nice introduction. We're here to tell the story of Emerald Village, an affordable tiny house community developed by SquareOne Villages, which is a nonprofit based in Eugene, Oregon, creating self-managed communities of tiny houses for people in need of housing. I'm going to take the first half and provide you an introduction and overview to the project, and then I'll turn it over to Alicia, who will zoom in on one of the 22 houses in this project that she helped design and build. Emerald Village is a story that illustrates just what's possible when a local community comes together around a common cause. The way in which we currently finance and develop low-income housing is insanely complex, a process almost entirely disconnected from the average person. With Emerald Village, we attempted to demystify housing development in order to involve more people in the process, to show that it doesn't have to be so complicated and that we don't have to wait on consistently insufficient federal and state funding to take action. But in order to accomplish that, we had to evolve from a ragtag group of activists meeting in an anarchist outpost to an actual housing developer ourselves to be able to pull off something like this. Before we built Emerald Village, we built Opportunity Village, which opened in August 2013 as a one-year pilot project on city-owned land, with the goal of bridging the gap between the street and conventional housing options. The 30 shelters of 60 to 80 square feet in size are supported by a common cooking area, restrooms with showers, laundry, and a 30-foot yurt that serves as a common living room. All built for just $100,000 in cash donations and a whole lot of community support. The short-term nature of the pilot project precluded permanent improvements to the site and required us to design everything to be relocatable. But due to the overwhelmingly non-controversial nature of this project, the current lease on the same project has now been leased through 2020, which put us in position to do a second project. While Opportunity Village was designed to be transitional, a stepping stone to more permanent housing, we found that there were few opportunities for transitioning, even when villagers were able to find stability and obtain their social security or full-time work. With Emerald Village, we wanted to put that step of affordable housing within reach. So in May of 2015, with the help of a sizable donation from a generous donor, we were able to purchase 1 acre of vacant land in Eugene's Whitaker neighborhood to realize our village model in a more permanent fashion. We had the experience of Opportunity Village under our belts, and we had proven the value of a self-managed community-based shelter model, but now we were taking on a much bigger challenge in becoming a housing developer. We had a small staff, including myself with a planning background, Alicia with an architecture background, and a charismatic pastor of a church as a part-time executive director. We spent the next 2 years planning, fundraising, designing, and working the channels of the city permitting process. The plan includes 22 different tiny homes, which you'll see here in blue, and a community clubhouse here that provides access to a community kitchen for larger group meals, laundry. I'll say that I'm a better writer than I am a public speaker, so I'm going to stick to the script here. A community clubhouse provides access to laundry, a larger community kitchen for group meals, and a flexible use space for gathering that opens onto a community garden. And on the corner, we have space available for future food carts and other micro businesses. We presented our initial concept at a meeting of local architects and were blown away to find that we soon had 13 different pro bono design build teams to account for 14 of the tiny dwellings. So you can see those 14 different houses here. Unlike our Opportunity Village houses, which are basically detached bedrooms, each one of these 160 to 300 square foot in size houses comes with a kitchen, a bathroom, and is built on a permanent slab foundation. With the architects, we agreed to a simple design program that limited the design to 250 square feet in size and $15,000 in materials, though some of the homes experienced a little architectural creep. While the curb appeal of the tiny houses tend to garner a lot of the attention, we believe a more critical piece is involving the people in the process. To exemplify this, we selected our initial residents prior to breaking ground and allowed each person to select their top three choices from the variety of schematic housing designs. To our surprise, almost everyone got their first choice, and everyone, in fact, did get at least their second choice, which speaks to the fact that different people have different needs and therefore deserve different housing options. The land and physical assets are held in trust by SquareOne Villages, the nonprofit, with the intent of retaining them as affordable housing in perpetuity, and then leased to a cooperative, Emerald Village Eugene, to manage and maintain the housing. Co-op members pay $250 to $350 a month, which covers utilities, short and long-term maintenance, operating costs, and a share in the co-op. This allows residents to acquire a modest asset without having to qualify for a conventional bank loan, and also offers benefits such as shared resources, greater security of tenure, self-management, and operating at cost. We broke ground in May of 2017, and we asked each resident to contribute 50 hours of sweat equity during the development process. But LeBeau will be the first to tell you that he put in 410 hours to develop and design and build his home over the course of 4.5 months. This is one of 8 houses overseen by SquareOne Villages, using a fairly standard design with structural insulated panels and just 160 square feet in size. But through the process, each home took on a unique personality of its own. The ubiquitous panels of OSB and rigid foam insulation became LeBeau's Chateau, a custom home detailed to his likings, which he painted Tiffany blue and finished out with a 1950s mid-century modern themed interior. He lives on a fixed income of just $750 a month, and he calls it his forever home.
All right, we didn't realize how large these pictures would be, so could have added more images, but here you are. So another house at Emerald Village that had some pretty good resident participation that we wanted to feature in this is Site Q. As Andy mentioned, after reviewing all the possible home designs and floor plans months before the construction began, residents ranked their top 3 homes. Cantrell ranked our design, Flex Unit, as his first pick. Our design team joined the project after the other teams. This late entry provided the unique opportunity to incorporate our first resident in the design process as well as the physical construction of the home. The light straw clay wall system of this home created easy and ample opportunity for residents and volunteers to contribute physically towards the structure. Through the mixing of the straw and clay, the stuffing of the walls, and the base plastering efforts, we were able to incorporate villagers who've never built before, kids, students, and a large sort of neighborhood population. Despite fears and some of the worst possible scenarios for natural builders, we were able to finish stuffing and plastering of the exterior of the building before the fall rains set in. We waited a few more weeks to do the base plaster of the interior as we continued to work on the details of the structure. With Cantrell's help and a number of dedicated volunteers, the home was completed last December, and Cantrell and his cat O'Malley have moved in. The final design choices and finishes were informed by the volunteers we met through the construction of his home, the donations we received, and the materials we found. For example, we acquired the pigments down the street from a local company. Cantrell tested and approved all of the interior and exterior colors. Pendleton wool remnants insulate the roof. A local company donated the windows. A friend provided the Douglas fir slab that became the exterior bench. A neighbor of the site and local natural builder created and installed all the sills. We even met a new friend through a Craigslist call for volunteers who became a weekly volunteer and made the concrete countertop pictured on the left. All said, the final actualization of this small structure departed from my initial material boards and renderings, as brilliant as they were. While I had to relinquish some control, I have come to appreciate the beauty and inconsistency of participation and collaboration.
And so here's just a picture of the first kind of gathering we had on our central lawn. And as you can see, each of these 22 houses has a unique story of its own, and we've just kind of barely begun to scratch the surface. But we'll be doing a much longer presentation tomorrow at the summit at 4 p.m. So if you're interested in learning more, come out and check that out. We've also been consulting with a group here in Seattle, Washington called EcoThrive, and they're looking to do a similar type of project here in the area. So they'll be joining us at the presentation tomorrow. They'll be joining us at the presentation tomorrow to speak and discuss a little bit about their thoughts on how to get something like this started in this area.